Okay, so I'm going to talk about a project we worked on a few years ago. This was a new build house in a lovely rural conservation village. Lots of the clients have bought this site with plan permission. This is the site, and this is the house that they'd bought, or the design that they bought. Had this great south-facing garden, these lovely mature apple trees. This is an old orchard, and some great views over here towards the hills. Unfortunately, the design that they'd bought didn't really work. It didn't make the most of the site, and they'd realised that they wanted something to be a bit more modern in appearance. They didn't really like the traditional nature of this design. So they approached us to see whether we could help them. They had a budget of about £240,000 for the building work itself, plus professional fees and contingency on top of that, which is a really good budget, or it was at the time. This was about 2017. But what we quickly identified was that this house was much too big to build for their budget. We, at the time, were allowing about £1,500 per metre squared, and that would allow them to build something that's maybe 2/3 the size of this. And what we actually realised as well was the layout was pretty poor. So this is the back garden over here. This is the front garden. And really what the clients wanted was they wanted to be able to see their young daughter playing in the garden in the sun. But the kitchen, one of the main rooms in the house, was right at the front of the building. This is the back garden down here. And you've got this tiny little window here that looks out onto the back garden, and you have to look down this kind of slightly rubbish bit of garden here down the side of the house. Got 3 separate reception rooms here. So there's no kind of big family space that lots of people are wanting now, and not just wanting, but work really well for young families. And then you've got this really weird hallway that kind of dog legs into the sitting room at the back. So out of the size of the house, this large 230 square metre house was actually down to poor design and poor use of circulation. And despite it being big, it's going to feel really small. It's going to feel really dark, particularly because a lot of the windows are really small, tiny little windows, and it's really not making the most of the site. So it was really good that they got in touch with us and that we could help them to really make the most of this fantastic site that they bought with a new design, where we looked at the site from first principles and what would really work for them as a family. This is how we approached the same plot of land. The clients, as well as wanting something a bit more contemporary, were really looking for a really sustainable home. They wanted to get as close to the passive house standard as they could within their budget. They needed 4 double bedrooms. They wanted a good size main bedroom suite with a dressing room and an ensuite. And then it was really important that they had the big sort of family space, kitchen, living, dining room, a playroom, and there was some flexibility in there for their parents to come and stay as they got older. So you can see here what we did for the site plan was we kept it nice and simple. We kept it a nice square or rectangular volume, and that made it much cheaper to build than doing something a bit more complicated or more architecturally interesting. And we spent a lot of time getting the details right rather than spending a lot of money on a sort of fancy, elaborate form. The back where the south-facing garden was, we had lots of big openings to make full use of that sunlight, which is going to warm the house in the winter as well, and get them that indoor, outdoor living that they really wanted. And then at the front we had much smaller windows because it's north facing. We're kind of framing the really amazing apple trees at the front of the house and pulling out that character of the house. And also it meant it was a bit more private from the road, so that it didn't feel on show. And then moving into the plan itself, another key difference from the house that the plot came with, the planning permission the plot came with, was minimising the circulation space. Made the house much more efficient and meant we could spend more money on the spaces that people enjoy on a day-to-day basis, and made it more spacious to live in. So we've got a really nice or really tight entrance hall here, but we've got a big double height space here over the dining table and a big double height space over the entrance. So it feels really lofty and light and just a really nice space to spend time. Big kitchen dining space at the back of the house, which makes full use of the indoor-outdoor living spaces. And then off that, you've got a playroom where it had glazed doors, so you could see the children playing, but you wouldn't necessarily hear them. Or you can easily hide away all that clutter at the end of the day, and they can come and kind of inhabit that main space when they're up and playing as well. And then we had a nice snug here, which was less important that it went on the back elevation, because it's all about watching a TV rather than necessarily looking out and enjoying the space. And then upstairs, as we kept it nice and efficient, so we had this gallery that served all the bedrooms that had nice sort of framed views of the apple trees as you go along it. A main bedroom suite at one end, with ensuite and dressing room, this double height space that I mentioned, and then 3 really good sized sort of double bedrooms, nice and efficient, and all of these have a great view of that garden and get all of that lovely sunlight. And then here's the design outside. Okay, so I think the photos really tell the story more than these drawings, but yeah, some nice stone, quite a simple palette of materials, but something that's really interesting to look at and definitely much more contemporary than what was there before. So yeah, have a look at the photos either on our website or that are going to flash up in a second.